everybody. It is the end of summer and fruit is everywhere. Do you want to know the best recipes to make with fruit? Are you dying to know what to do with all those blackberries you picked up at the farmer's market, watermelon, cantaloupe, persimmons, you name it? Well, you are in the right place. Thanks so much for joining me today. Hey, y'all, my name is Virginia Willis. I'm a chef and cookbook author based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And every Friday at 11:30 a.m., I get to do one of my favorite things of the entire week, which is to host Cookbooks with Virginia. And I'm a cookbook author, and I love cookbooks. I love celebrating cookbooks. I love celebrating my friends that have cookbooks. I love talking to people about new cookbooks, old cookbooks, classic cookbooks. You get it. It's all about cookbooks. And I'm just thrilled to pieces today because I have on a guest who is a friend, and I just think the world of her. And super, super shout out, major respect to Nancie McDermott. And we are featuring today her fruit book, Savor the South series. And y'all, I just can't wait for you to meet her, to talk to her, to talk about fruit. So let's bring Nancie in and see what Nancie has to say. Hey, Nancie.
Hey, Virginia. I'm so happy to be with you.
I know it. It makes me smile. It so makes me smile. So thank you so much. So I'm going to tell people where they can win a copy of the book. And then I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. So y'all, the book this week for Cookbooks with Virginia is Fruit, Savor the South series, Nancie McDermott. To win your free copy, you're going to go to my Instagram page, look for the cover of this book. You're going to follow me. You're going to follow Nancie Mac's Picks. It's all right there. And over the course of the weekend, we're just going to be promoting it all weekend long. And then on Monday, we're going to choose a winner. Yes, right? That's a good way to start. All right. So, Nancie, you are loved. I can see all the people, even without my glasses on. I can see all the people joining us today, right?
Hey, everybody. No glasses.
I got a contact prescription, but I can't manage it yet. So, okay. So for those folks that don't know you, I would love for you. You have such a wide and varied and awesome career. Give everybody just a little bit about who you are. What's your history?
My pleasure. It's been all about food, and food for me pretty much since birth, as far as I've been able to understand and definitely remember. I've been cooking since I could reach the stove and the table. And I'm from North Carolina. I'm back in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, an hour away from where I was born and raised. And I'm Southern, and I really wasn't interested in food as a business. I majored in English, and I went to the Peace Corps in Thailand. And there I taught 7th grade English as a second language. And I really loved teaching. So I spent about the first 7 years of my working life after Peace Corps teaching English and social studies in 7th grade in North Carolina, and then later in East Harlem in New York City. And I think I am still Miss Frizzle, the social studies teacher. I just want a magic school bus so I can take everybody around. I was always bringing a frying pan into my social studies class to talk about, the world through food.
And I think that that's one of the things. That what you just described about your very the Peace Corps, for goodness sakes. Your whole life you hear about the crazy people that went off and joined the Peace Corps, and you are one of them.
I saw the commercials and said, "That's me."
I just think that is like awesome. I mean, so awesome. And that approach, I just think it's apparent. Your approach about like social studies and food, to me, is present in every recipe I ever eat of yours. Like it's anthropological almost.
To me, it's food and story. So just the recipe or thinking of a brand new thing that nobody's ever done, not going to happen. But I want to know what is that, and why do they eat it here but not there? And if it's delicious and possible, sometimes how can I make it? Not always. Sometimes I just want somebody else to do it.
No, it's so cool. So y'all, and also the things that Nancie hasn't told you is that she's been nominated for a James Beard Award. You've written 14 cookbooks?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh. Like that is prolific. Nominated for a James Beard Award. You have a YouTube channel. I know that people love your videos. I love watching your videos. And you do videos, and you've got YouTube, and you put stuff out on Facebook. I don't know how you have time to do everything that you do.
I'm the whirling dervish. I'm the Tasmanian devil, always always in a whirl. But, once in a while I focus, and here I am.
No, it's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit. So you had many books based on your time in Southeast Asia, and I it's interesting to me because just knowing you and caring about you and your work, I see a mention of your book, one of your Southeast Asian books, on social media at least once a week from people I don't even know. Right? It's like easy Thai. Oh, I tried this recipe, and I just love that. It makes me feel like I'm seeing my friends, which I am.
Yes, it's such a.
I mean, it's just, I love it. But then I guess a couple years ago, you did Southern pies and you did Southern cakes. And so you're kind of like returning a little bit to your Carolinian roots, right?
Exactly. And actually there was like a turning point. We moved from, I went to Southern California in 1985, and that's when I took a food writing class and joined IACP, the Cooking Professionals Organization, and started working on freelance food writing, teaching cooking classes, and aiming to get that first cookbook. And then I kept on going with that. In 1999, we moved for my husband's work. Same reason I was in Southern California in the first place. We moved to North Carolina. He took a job here. He's still in that job. And I remembered all the Southern food that I had grown up on, that I loved. And I've always had a very soft spot for cakes. Interested, but I didn't think that a Southern hook would work. I felt like, well, I just, got to just say, I was going to call it real cakes because I had real Thai and I'm going to have real cakes. And my premise was, you don't have to have a $400 mixer and a pastry chef credential. My grandmother made cakes and she used a spoon. So that there's this world of home baking that I felt like people were missing. And I ended up lucky enough that my editor at the time, Bill LeBlond at Chronicle Books, said, well, what about Southern cakes? And that, and the timing was right. And that home baking, it's like, and I thought, people say, it's so different. You were doing Asian food and now you're doing Southern food. What? And I realized, well, first of all, I'm kind of not in the box, and I'm all over the place anyway, but also it's really the same. I'm still interested in home cooking. I'm still interested in ordinary everyday food. I'm still interested in the Thai dishes or the Greek dishes or the French dishes that have a story, that are of this, that illuminate something. And so focusing in on the South, I'm here. So to me, it's like the particular subject changes, but I'm always on the magic school bus with the social studies class saying, wait a minute, stop, look at that.
No, it's true. It's true. Well, we've got a lot of folks here. Beth McDonald says every food has a story. These stories are history. Yay, Penryn is here. Woohoo, made it. How happy to see two of my favorite badass, lovely favorite women in food together. We've got Sandra Frank. Yay, Sandra, I have been loving you doing the nutrition on my recipes. It's been so fantastic. We've got Lynn Warwick Wells. Happy Fruity Friday. Yay, happy Fruity Friday. That's awesome. Chef Matthew Rayford here. Big shout out to him. You've had a big week, man. Kim Severson writing all about you. That's great. So, and Mama is watching. So that means that all is good in the world. All right. So, I know, right? So, okay,
I know her.
I know. Oh my gosh, Nancy, you wouldn't believe it when Mama goes with me, like on trips and I do book signings, like people will want her to sign the book too. I love it so much. But let's talk about your book. So what I want y'all to do is that if you have not gone and entered, and I want to tell y'all, Nancy and I, this is something we are trying to promote her. We are trying to promote her book. I'm trying to promote Cookbooks with Virginia. So like, even if you have a copy, please go on in there and like her and like me. Instagram, the algorithm, they love the activity, right? So even if you already like us or love us or have our books or whatever, if you could please go on in there to my Instagram page and give some love to the fruit book. All right, so Nancy, I know you have like overdone it. I mean, overdone it in the best way, not in a bad way, in the best way.
It's
like bringing it, sister. I want you to tell us all about that fruit abundanza that you have in front of you.
Abundanza, yes. Why don't we have, abundance is nice, but abundanza.
Abundanza.
Gotta put the hands in. I love this assignment from UNC Press. I don't have to tell this to Virginia because she is a member of the authorship of the Savor the South series. She's got the okra book. I've got fruit. Michael Tweedy did rice. Sarah Foster did pies. There are, I think, 25 or 26 individual books like this, single subject books. And I've been talking to Elaine Maisner kind of about, I wanted to do one. She wanted me to do one. And she came to me and said, how about a book on wild persimmons, muscadine and scuppernong grapes, and figs? And I said, okay, because don't say no, don't argue. And I wrote that up and I said, but we should really also, it would really be good to do blackberries too, because they are wild and yet domesticated and so important. And I would really hate to leave out peaches and then pretty soon once they went to fruit, they cut me off at 12. And watermelon was one that I really loved doing, because I love the focus of this series, because it's what is the thing or the genre and what is it in the South, what makes it Southern. And then about 5, for me, there's about 50 recipes. So I had 4 to 5 for each of 12 fruits, but they didn't want it to be all old timey. It's not a museum piece. It's right. Your book, the okra book, is sort of, isn't it traditional and then global? It's like you're
no, exactly. I did 25. Thank you for asking. I did 25 traditional Southern recipes, okra, because that's what we think of, and then 25 global recipes. So I think that's important for what you did. It's not a museum piece. Southern food is not a museum piece.
Right. It ain't dead. It ain't dead. Down. and the fact that it's changing, the fact that it's not about, whatever they did in the past is interesting and has value, but it's not the story. So I've got watermelon, I've got the peaches, I've got the blackberries. Those are the things that are in season right now. And I'll come back to what's on the cover, because that's kind of what the thought I want to leave you with. But today I decided I'm going to just take a little teeny peek at one of the 12, and I decided to do figs, because this is the height of fig season where I am in North Carolina. And we
have a lot of people asking about this cake. Before you get going on your little demo, let's just take a moment and give some love to that cake. So tell us what this cake is in front of us.
Oh my gosh! So this is a fig cake. It's in my book. It's in Southern Cakes, and then again, it's in the fig chapter of the fruit book. It's Ocracoke Island fig cake. You could call it a fig pound cake, because obviously it's pound cake genre.
Okay.
You could call it a jam cake, because it is not made with traditionally it's not made with fresh figs. It is made with chopped with a fig jam. Here we go. So this is commercial fig jam that you can buy at your grocery store, and this is homemade fig jam that you can make. I have the recipe in my book. That's one of the ones I did. The fig jam / fig preserves recipe has figs, sugar, lemon juice. I think that's all. It's not put in pectin. It kind of sets up. It's very thick. It's almost syrupy. So this is a cake that was made not when the figs are in season. Then you're just fighting the birds to eat them and take them in and do whatever you do with. But a way to use you preserve them, and then this is something besides put it on a biscuit that you do with fig jam. So it's a spice cake. It's got allspice and nutmeg and cinnamon in it. It's got buttermilk. It's got a real old-timey touch. In addition to baking powder, it's got a teaspoon of baking soda that you mix with hot water and stir in at the very end. And that's a very old-timey thing. I think with modern baking powder, you don't have to do that. But that's the thing about activating that has to do with the chemistry of it. But it just makes a wonderful, fragrant, plain cake. There's a clear buttermilk glaze that people traditionally put on it. And of course, you can bake it in 2 pans and put icing on it. It's one of these great cakes. And there's a fig cake in Louisiana that is that has those deep South roots. Anywhere there are figs, people are doing something with them. But that Ocracoke Island connection is really sweet to me, because this is my place. But it is a jam cake, a spice cake, and a pound cake, and it is one of the easiest ones. It like carrot cake, Virginia. It uses oil, not butter. So all you need is a spoon or a fork to stir it.
No. So let's just pause for a second. So for those of you that aren't aware, Ocracoke is a barrier island in North Carolina, and those outer banks are just gorgeous. It's its own sort of mid-Atlantic thing, completely different from New England, completely different from the Southeast. Cape Hatteras, a ton, like just beautiful, beautiful, these long barrier islands. So Ocracoke is well known. So that's super cool. So, and then the second piece that Nancie's talking about, and I have gone to Nancie before when I've done, because she's the author of Southern Cakes and, numerous articles and stuff. So oil-based cakes are easy. So Nancie, the oil-based cake, many of them are like sort of mid 20th century. Is this an older cake, or is this since it's an old?
This is an older cake. I mean, I think that I'm just, and this is just me spitballing, but if you're on Oak Island, it is, you have to take a ferry. It is not
right.
Bridge. So how many dairies do they have out there?
Right.
Would having butter, fresh butter, and if you did using it in a cake, there are things like using evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk, oil, those things. I think of that as a baby boomer. Oh, that's a modern shortcut. And in the old days, they used to be more whatever. There are a lot of things that it just made sense. And you can use a lot of times. I mean, you could just maybe melt the butter in a cake. Sometimes on a hot summer day, stirring in what is softened and what is melted. So yeah.
All right. So I have a question. Gina Christensen says that she's not a fig fan, but she's sold on this. So now since it's fig jam, would you see the possibility of subbing out? And so she doesn't like figs, but say she likes, blackberries. Could this become a blackberry cake?
Completely. Because like the genre of jam cakes, it's like some of people will specify there is a classic Blackberry Jam Cake, which I thought, oh, I'm going to love that. And the first time I made it, I said, I don't see the blackberries. It's it looks a lot. It looks a lot like this, except people traditionally put caramel icing on a Blackberry Jam Cake. There's a tradition of that, but it's not. The jam is not the star. It is using jam like fruit in a fruit cake, like nuts. It's using it to make a dessert. So if you don't like figs, you would still like this cake because you don't say figgy. But you could use any jam. I wouldn't use jelly. I'd use a jam that has
and it's got some stuff in it. No, people are funny about figs. I love them. And I've always loved them. And I love every way, shape, and color. I love them. I love fig Newtons. I love fig jam. I love fig cake. I love fig chutney. I love raw figs. And we went and picked some. Mom and I went and picked some a couple weeks ago. And we didn't get that many this year. Last year, we got like 10 pounds. It was crazy. And Nancie, you won't believe it. These fig trees are, my mother is my mother, and I'm 54, and I'm going to leave it like that so she doesn't fuss at me for telling her age. But she used to play underneath these fig trees. These fig trees are that well established.
Oh, my heart. Yes.
They're huge. I mean, they're huge. So we've got this beautiful tradition of fruit. And y'all, Nancie McDermott has done what Nancie McDermott does, which has made a beautiful book of well-tested, excellently written recipes with thought-provoking head notes. I mean, such a big, huge fan. And I know a ton of y'all are too. Let's see who love Ocracoke in the Outer Banks. Got to find a friend with a fig tree. That's the truth, because you'll go broke buying them. But you have some. Will you talk to us a little bit about this chutney that you have? I can't wait. She's going to demonstrate a chutney for us.
Absolutely. So if you're in the South right now, ask around. You may, or go to a farmer's market. This is the gold from the Chapel Hill Farmers Market. We have a Carver Farmers Market and Chapel Hill Farmers Market. And right now these came from Feather Village Farm. He has 4 different kinds. There's a green one, Cadota fig, that he has that we already used up. There's brown turkey, there's Celeste, they're all different kinds. And of course, some of them, this one is very definitely brown and that's dark purple, but other than that, sometimes I can't tell. But you see, they're so teeny. And Virginia, did you ever have Bill Smith at Crook's Corner? He would take these little teeny figs, slice them in half, and put the open side with a little dollop of, I think it was creme fraiche and herbs and something, and a little corsage of country ham.
A corsage of country ham. That is the kind of homecoming corsage I need. No, I don't think I was there for that, but that sounds very Bill Smith.
Yes.
Just super simple, using local ingredient, like all of it. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me in the least. That's so great that you've got those and the different names, right? Like, it's just so wonderful.
And these, I almost hate to cook with. It's like these I want to eat. I want to put them in a salad. I want to do something.
Right.
At the grocery store, what most everybody is going to be able to find at a well-stocked grocery store nationwide, because I know not everybody is here and not everybody has that brand. Is, let's see, this is a figs from California, something or other. It comes, this is a pound package, and there's a little spot for each one. These are black mission figs usually, or something else that doesn't grow in our area. Look at the size difference, y'all. Don't write a recipe that says 10 figs, because 10 of these versus 10 of that. You measure it out or weigh it out or something. But these are the ones that I can always find. And if I'm going to cook something like this chutney, I would more likely use these. I want to do something with this that shows them off a little more, maybe even a galette where you can see them. I just flip off the top.
Right.
I want to make.
So let's talk about your chutney. So what is, let's see, I'm going to flip to it. So y'all, do a little bit more while Nancie's getting that. There's different recipes per. These are little studious books. There are no photographs in any of them. But so is this the fig compote or on Vimala or
Fig chutney? Vimala's compote is cooked. This one is
fresh fig chutney. Yes, 48. Okay.
So I've got maybe about a third of the figs that I need, and the garlic that I buzzed together in a food processor. But you could chop them very finely. But I wanted to get a good sauce, and I wanted to chop the garlic up really fine. And then I've got the rest of the figs that I just coarsely chopped by hand, just big chunks.
God, look at that.
If you wanted them to be more fine, you could, but I like it to be sort of substantial. So I'm just going to part the rest of the figs in. So that's about, I think it's a pound and a half of figs. And so I've just got those. I'm using my wooden spoon to stir it up, and we need a little seasoning. I've got a half cup of white wine. I've got 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I've got a tablespoon of lemon juice. Figs love lemon. Lemon loves figs. I've got a teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of cayenne. And the magic, my favorite ingredient, don't tell the other ingredients, this is cumin. And it's toast. I mean, you can just put it in. But if you put it in a dry skillet for about 5 minutes and just stir it, make sure it doesn't, start to catch fire, it develops a roasty flavor. So there's a cumin flavor. This is a recipe from my friend Michelle Anna Jordan, who's in wine country of Northern California, and it has a real Mediterranean feeling. And so I'm just stirring everything together. No, it's not cooked. So it's more like a salsa. A chutney, I think, tells you use it on the side with rice, use it with couscous, use it on a buffet when you've got 20 different dishes, and it's kind of an accent. And then the magic last ingredient is chopped cilantro. Let me say just a little bit. Chopped fresh cilantro, and it's just stirred together, and that's it. We're done. And it's good now, but it'll be magic tomorrow, because this is one of those where everything comes together and flavors develop. Let me just make sure here.
So give it a taste. Tell us. So just take a breath and tell me what it tastes like, because I want to taste that in my mouth so bad I can't stand it.
The cumin sings. If you know and love cumin, you'll know cumin is in there, and in a good way. I put in a half teaspoon of cayenne, which is a lot for some people. Just a back. It goes in with all the other dishes. It's that magic lane between sweet and savory, which I think we miss. I think something in Western European culture is that, well, there's sweet fruits, vegetables and fruits, sweet and savory. And I think young people nowadays are putting, are mixing things up or not thinking about it.
No, well, I love sweet heat, right? Like it's a nice flavor with meats for sure.
Oh,
especially pork, right? Like, so what would we serve that with? So I'm going to the farmer's market tomorrow morning. I'm going to pick up some figs. I'm going to go home and make your chutney. And then I want to maybe grill something tomorrow night. What do you think that would go along with?
Oh my gosh. I think it would be lovely with grilled shrimp, pork chops.
Everything goes in pork chops.
Mushrooms. If somebody's doing a vegan thing, something like mushrooms or grilled zucchini, all the vegetables. This is the kind of thing which for vegetarians and vegans, there's not this big meat item. This adds interest and excitement to a meal where you've got 4 or 5 things on the grill, corn on the cob, and a little bowl of this, and people will want to take it home. It makes a lot, but if this is make this, put it in a jar and share it with somebody. Just tell them to put it in the fridge. Just right.
Open. So let me read out some of these other recipes. So we've got blackberries. We've got a blackberry roly-poly, a full, a slump, a cordial, cantaloupe. I love that. Cantaloupe aqua fresca, horchata de melon, preserves, pickles, damson plums. We've got your beautiful figs. Mayhaws. Now that's going old school.
Yeah.
Mayhaw jelly, shrimp, slow cooker pulled pork with mayhaw jelly. Scuppernongs. I'm going up to North Georgia this afternoon, and I'm really hoping to get some scuppernongs and muscadines, pawpaws. Now that is that sort of speaks to Southeast Asian flavors, right? The pawpaw.
Pawpaw is used in English as a word for papaya, but this pawpaw is a native. It's the biggest indigenous fruit in America. It's not related to papaya, and it looks sort of like a very lumpy, misshapen mango on the outside. It's yellow inside. It grows wild in the forest understory, and it's kind of never gotten well known outside of the places where people have it. It was food for native people. It was food for people escaping from slavery and going through in the woods. It's foraging.
And I want to dig deeper on that, because I had always, and I'm truly bringing this up because I think this is going to be a point of interest for you, not a point of difference, right? But I took part in a wild fruit Zoom earlier this week, put on by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. Right, I saw it on Facebook. Yes. And she said, and I want to look at it further. She said that pawpaw was actually not indigenous, which I thought it was, right? That it was brought over by early colonists and then became invasive. Isn't that kind of, I mean, I don't know. And I don't know, like I had always heard it was just like this wild sort of rare fruit and all of what you just said. So I'm super curious and I want to dig a little bit deeper in that. So y'all, like what she's saying, it's like, it's wild. It's not as common, but anyway, okay. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to make sure to let you know, Nancie. I'm going to contact that person, because I think that's the kind of thing that I think you and I geek out about, right? Like
exactly. And it's like, I mean,
when she said that, I was like, what?
Wait,
huh? Wait, what?
But that's what makes it interesting, and I think we, we say it's like, okay, well, who did it first? Who does it best? And it's like, it's an evolving story. Tune in tomorrow and we'll find out that the first cookbook written by by such a group, we find another one.
No, it's cool. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. But we're like at the end of our time, and you've been so awesome talking about your fruit book. I have 5 questions that I ask everybody, my sort of 5 cookbooks with Virginia questions. So my first question, you've written so many books and you've got so many delicious recipes. What is what is a food memory that you would love to share that might have a part of your fruit book? What's a food memory for you?
Oh, I've got it. Picking blackberries. And I didn't realize at the time we were foraging for wild blackberries on the shoulder of a 2-lane road in northern Orange County, which is where I am now, on the way to Schlag Range out in the middle of nowhere with my grandmother. I am one of 7 little cousins, and we're all floating around in her Ford Fairlane, no seat belts, no aircon, and we floated out there on that great big car, and she's down here. And picked blackberries, and we took them back. I didn't know about snakes at the time. I might have stayed in the car, but we didn't mind it. We ate too many of them, and she came back and made she called them blackberry rolls. I would call them dumplings. She just made
yes. My grandmother used to make that.
Filled up one of those big baking pans, Virginia, like the biscuit pan.
Yep.
Lots of crust, butter and sugar on the top, and just scooped them out. And I guess it's a form of cobbler. So picking the blackberry, knowing she's going to do that in the winter, getting her blackberry preserves down from the pantry that she had in the dairy farm kitchen 10 miles from here. The farmhouse is still there.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Food memories are so amazing. And I know that have everything to do with why you're here today, right?
Amen. Exactly.
That's the truth. It's the truth. So, okay. So you do a lot of videos. You've got your great YouTube channel. People I know love watching you on Facebook. So who are some of the people that you like to watch? Like, what is some of the content that you like to watch, whether it's on television or online or on YouTube or whatever? Who was one of your favorites?
Right now, I'm in the 2/3 of the way through Ted Lasso, which is not about cooking, but it's all about heart and
It's
relationship.
about life.
And the cookie biscuit thing that he gives her, he makes that, right? That sort of went by fast. I'm
Food
drawing
isn't everything. No, I think that's great. And, that's great. And food isn't everything. And that, I think that you nailed it right there. That it's a funny show, y'all that haven't watched it on Apple. Great show, Ted Lasso with Jason Sudeikis. But that element makes everything real and human, right? Those handmade biscuits that he gives them. So that speaks to my heart. So okay, sour, salty, bitter, sweet, and savory. What's your go-to?
Sweet.
She says it holds up her cake.
Got my heart early on, so
no, for sure. All right, so here's another content question. All right, so who was the last cookbook that you read? What was the last cookbook that you looked at or read from other than your own?
Matthew Rayford.
Well, there you go. Give Matthew a shout out. That's awesome. Yes, isn't that a great book? Amazing.
Because it's like I know the general background, but his personal story, plus he's documenting the Sea Island culture. Yes. It's delicious.
No, it is. It is indeed. It is indeed. All right. And then like my last question, you're going to the desert island. You've got one kitchen tool to take. What are you taking?
I guess it's got to be my big spoon.
There you go. Everyone is different, and I love that. And you were the first person that said spoon. Isn't that funny?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad I didn't know. I would have worried about it all morning. I'm glad I would have said, "What's the right thing?" But it's like, you know what?
That's why I don't tell people. That's why I don't tell people, because I want you to overthink it. I want you to like rapid fire. Like, what is it? Oh my gosh, Nancie.
In Thailand, people, I came home from Thailand and I said, why are we eating with a fork? You could hurt yourself. There's almost always a sauce that you want to scrape up. Thai people eat with a spoon. Well, it's way back in the country, Indian tradition, eating with your finger.
Yep.
But you have a fork and you scrape with a spoon. And I always want a spoon for cooking, for tasting, for the sauces, for everything. So
that is so awesome. Yay! Well, I want to thank you so much. Y'all make sure to go to my Instagram page. Look for the cover of fruit. Thank you so much for watching today. Nancie, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so just an honor to have you on, and I love watching what you do. And thank you for sharing your fruit book. My joy and pleasure. Thanks, Virginia. Yay, honey. Thank you. Wasn't that fun? I just think she's awesome. I really do. She's the second time on the show. I'd have her all the time if I could. Y'all make sure to check Nancie out if you're not already a friend and a follower. Lots of great stuff going on. Tons of great guests coming up in October. I've got Elizabeth High School. I've got Dory Greenspan. I've got Aaron McDonald. Just a ton of people setting the programming through fall. And that is it. I think that's it. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please go check out Nancie. Try to win the copy of the book. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Bon appetit, y'all. Bye-bye now.